Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of United States Army Retired, Colonel Daniel Deeker, the Executive Director of VA Tennessee Valley Healthcare System, as well as Colonel Samuel Preston, the Commander of Blanchfield Army Community Hospital, and Command Sergeant Major Gary Petty, the Command Sergeant Major of Blanchfield Army Community Hospital, welcome to our ribbon-cutting ceremony. Today we have gathered to dedicate the opening of the Fort Campbell VA Clinic at Blanchfield Army Community Hospital, located at Building C, Joel Drive, Fort Campbell, Kentucky. The Fort Campbell VA Clinic at BOC will deliver such amenities as VA primary care services and access to complementary integrated health services such as whole health, telehealth, clinical pharmacy, primary care mental health, and a blood draw station on site. This new facility will support the large veteran population in the community outside Fort Campbell, along with the veterans employed on post. At this time, we'd like to extend a sincere welcome to our distinguished guests. Dr. Shereef Elnahal, Undersecretary for Health for the Department of Veterans Affairs. Dr. Lester Martinez, Assistant Secretary of Defense Health Affairs. Mr. Daniel Deeker, United States Army Retired Colonel and Executive Director of the Veterans Affairs of Tennessee Valley Healthcare. Judge Executive Jerry Gilliam, Christian County. Mayor Joe Pitts, City of Clarksville. Mayor James Knight Jr., City of Hopkinsville. Mr. Alfred Montoya, Deputy Assistant Undersecretary for Health for Support, Veterans Health Administration. Mr. Patrick Picardo, Executive Director, Veterans Health Administration. Mr. Bill Harpel, Civilian Aide Emeritus to the Secretary of the Army and 2010 Champion of Fort Campbell. Mrs. Kelly Pendleton, Civilian Aide to the Secretary of the Army, Kentucky West, and 2021 Champion of Fort Campbell. Mr. Phil Harpel, Civilian Aide to the Secretary of the Army, Tennessee North, and 2010 Champion of Fort Campbell. Mr. Gregory Goins, Veterans Health Administration. Major General Tommy Baker, United States Army Retired, and Tennessee Veterans Affairs Commissioner. Dr. Anthony Stazzoni, Veterans Health Administration. Colonel Bob Freeman, United States Army Retired and 2010 Champion of Fort Campbell. Dr. Lana Basson, 2013 Champion of Fort Campbell. Command Sergeant Major Robert Nichols, United States Army Retired and 2021 Champion of Fort Campbell. Mrs. Royce Stevens, 2021 Champion of Fort Campbell, and Mr. Stevens. Mrs. Catherine Bertoli, 2023 Champion of Fort Campbell, and Mr. Bertoli. Mr. Charles Moore, Veterans Benefits Administration. Mr. Michael Renfro, Veterans Affairs of Tennessee Valley Healthcare. And a very special thank you to Colonel Vincent Myers, United States Army Retired and former commander of Blanchfield Army Community Hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem performed by Sergeant First Class Christine Permenter and remain standing for the invocation delivered by Chaplain Jeremiah Catlin.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please join me for a word of prayer. O Lord our God, today is a wonderful day in which we get to see an already thriving and successful facility in Blanchfield expand its care to our veterans. For this expansion today, Lord, we pray that you will provide a strength and a bountiful amount of compassion to our new staff and those that will be caring for our veterans. May they find in our location a place of comfort, but also a place that is like family to them. And we pray that our care and our compassion for them will continue to grow for years to come. May you bless this ceremony and this new clinic, we pray, in your most holy name. Amen.
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the commander of Blanchfield Army Community Hospital, Colonel Samuel Preston.
Good afternoon and air assault. I'd like to do a special welcome to our distinguished guests, both those that are on the stage with me, but also in the audience, our 101st Command teams and leaders, as well as the 5th Special Forces Group. Thanks for coming out. As well as our installation community leaders, CASA's champions of Fort Campbell, and of course, the true stars of the show, our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and guardians for life, also known as our veterans. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this ribbon cutting for the VA Clinic at Blanchfield Army Community Hospital. The ceremony is a symbol of the tremendous work of countless VA, Defense Health Agency, garrison, and community stakeholders to make this clinic a reality. However, this is by no means the capstone event. If anything, this is merely the beginning. As the military health system continues to evolve to care for our warriors and their families, while simultaneously training our providers and medics to save lives on the battlefield, Blanchfield and Tennessee Valley Veterans Health Administration sees this opportunity to further establish partnerships for the betterment of both institutions, and more importantly, for the health and readiness of those who entrust us to their health care. As we cut this ribbon, the VA and BOC teams are already codifying resource sharing agreements and MOUs, enhancing our partnerships for dental services, behavioral health, and pain management, and a host of other services to optimize our beneficiaries' health and wellness. This is truly a day of celebration for our Fort Campbell community, of which many of you all represent. Thank you for being here once again, but I assure you the best is yet to come. So it is now my distinct pleasure to hand over the stage to the Honorable Dr. Shereef Elnahal, the Undersecretary for Health for Veterans Affairs. Sir.
Thank you very much, Colonel Preston, and good afternoon, everybody. It is so great to be here on what will be an extremely exciting announcement for an impactful initiative that so many people on stage, but also in the audience, worked so hard for us to achieve. I first want to thank my partner in crime here at the DoD, Assistant Secretary of Defense for Health Affairs. He and General Crossland have been extraordinary partners in expanding our infrastructure to meet the needs of veterans across the country since I came into this role. And it's really been the honor of my professional life to really give more care and more benefits to more veterans across the country at the direction of the President himself, who has made that the mantra of our mission since we came on. I also want to thank key people on my team and on the DoD side for helping us get here today. Kara Garcia, the Activation Manager at the VA Tennessee Valley Healthcare System. She has been the lifeline of this clinic, according to Director Deeker, who should also be recognized for his leadership in this effort. At each stage, Kara was pivotal in getting all facets on target and on time to get this done. Sean Chambers, the Strategic Capital Planning Officer of the VA Tennessee Valley Healthcare System. Brandy Johnson, the Deputy Director for Partnerships and Outlying Clinics, of which this will be a new one as of today. And of course, all the state, local, and federal elected officials who help us get here today, including the members of Congress on our congressional committees, who've been constantly working with us to make sure the bridges between VA and DoD lead to real, new, and effective infrastructure to be able to deliver care across the country to more veterans. And that is why we are here. In August of 2022, the President signed the largest expansion of veterans benefits in more than a generation. And since then, more than 1 million veterans exposed to toxic substances during their service have applied for VA benefits, upon which they will hopefully soon qualify for health care if they are not already enrolled. More than 500,000 veterans have since enrolled for health care since the signing of that legislation, at least 100,000 of whom would not have qualified for VA health care had it not been for all of the doors that the PACT Act opens into more care and more benefits for more veterans. On top of that, we now have an initiative that I'll explain in a moment that will open even more doors for healthcare eligibility. A section of the law called 103 will make so many more veterans directly eligible for healthcare regardless of whatever health conditions they may have, whatever service-connected disabilities they may have. In other words, we would not require a service connection to any condition or any exposure or disability during their service. This is a major step forward in getting even more care to veterans across the country. And that is why partnerships like this are so important. The federal government has not been the fastest at activating new infrastructure. I can say that firsthand at the VA, but I know that's true across the federal government. And what we need to do is better leverage the infrastructure that already exists. And what better partners do we have than folks in the uniformed services and the Department of Defense, who obviously embody military culture, provide environments of care that our veterans would be comfortable in, feel natural in based on their service, and allow us to make use of underutilized space in DoD, but also for VA to contribute even more meaningfully to the mission on readiness. The President says the most sacred obligation that we have is to best prepare troops before they deploy abroad to defend our freedom and then to care for them after they come home. And initiatives like the new Fort Campbell Clinic marry those two parts of our most sacred obligation in the most clear and effective way possible. Through this particular partnership, at least 3,000 veterans already getting care in this region in Tennessee Valley will now have a much closer clinic to which they will be able to get primary care, behavioral health, and so many other services. That's a lower drive time, it's more convenient, and a higher likelihood that longitudinal health care will actually happen, reduces the chances of no-shows, disrupts people's work days and schedules less. And we know, and evidence says this over and over again, that the more we are closer to veterans, the more likely they will take us up on the health care not only that they qualified for, but they have earned because of their service in uniform. So we are meeting that sacred obligation in a huge way. And what we want to do is spread the success that I anticipate will happen here with this Fort Campbell Clinic in many other projects that Dr. Martinez-Lopez and I have been talking about now for many months. So you are literally setting the model on top of another project that we just announced at the Naval Hospital in Pensacola at the Panhandle in Florida that is going to be providing and is already providing now minor procedures and soon inpatient services for the veterans in that community. Yet another situation close to a base where so many veterans reside that can now go back to a familiar environment and get their care, and that's what this represents. And Tennessee Valley is the perfect place to do this. Over 140,000 veterans live in this area, proximity to Fort Campbell, but also across the region, including into Kentucky, where we know that veterans require care and also happen to reside in more rural areas than the rest of the country. Building and activating new infrastructure closer to rural veterans is a great way to be able to meet their care demand needs in a timely and effective way. And in fact, in Montgomery County right here, we also have the highest number of PACT Act claims payments in the United States. We know that from our VBA colleagues with whom we work hand in hand in the implementation of legislation that is finally allowing us to meet the moment for veterans who are exposed to toxic substances and now come home with conditions related to that. 32,000 eligible veterans residing in Montgomery County will now be able to get care in a much closer and more effective way. We will have primary care, mental health, laboratory services, and through sharing agreements, we'll be able to get specialty care delivered to veterans at the Blanchfield Army Community Hospital to include dental care, women's health care, intensive care, and pain management. These new services are being activated with a plethora of VA staff, over 30, who are going to be starting upon its activation to be able to meet the needs of veterans in this community. And we are not done with this Fort Campbell Clinic. In fact, we have plans to build 3 brand new outpatient clinics in Clarksville, Cookeville, and Nashville by 2027 to meet the needs of veterans and deliver the best health care to veterans in the soonest possible way. In Tennessee Valley, we also know that we provide among the highest quality care options that veterans have. Tennessee Valley scored a 4 out of 5 stars in the overall hospital quality star rating, the same score as it happens that Vanderbilt has, so take that for what it is. But the point is 67% of medical centers in the VA system across the country score among those top 2 ratings, 4 or 5 stars, compared to only 42% of civilian sector hospitals. So when we mean timely and accessible care, we also mean the highest quality care options available to veterans. And that has been proven over and over again through peer-reviewed literature, scientific assessments that directly compare VA and soon to be combined VA and DoD care to civilian care, pound for pound. What's better? What leads to better outcomes? VA scores at least as good, if not better, in almost every assessment that is published. And so part of that meeting that sacred obligation isn't to say we want more civilian sector health care. No, it means the highest quality option, which means effective partnerships like this one. We want to make sure that every veteran that is eligible receives this world-class care. And so we are already beginning to transfer the care for those 3,000 veterans to be seen in this clinic. 3 primary care teams, social workers, administrative support, 30 VA staff are here already to be able to meet the needs of veterans. So this has been a timely, effective activation. And the people I mentioned earlier are the ones to credit for being able to open the doors for more veteran care. Before I close, I want to ask for your help in getting 2 important messages out there to our veterans. The first is around a really exciting announcement that I mentioned earlier, which is the acceleration of eligibility for health care under PACT Act Section 103. This section of the law automatically qualifies veterans for health care, again, regardless of any assessment of conditions related to their service in the military. Veterans who are exposed to toxins in duty stations across the world. Veterans who are assigned to certain duty stations in Southwest Asia or parts of Africa at different time frames. And finally, any veteran who was deployed in support of certain operations after 9/11 will automatically qualify for VA health care as of March 5th. President Biden announced that Veterans Day of last year. Previously, the law called for these different cohorts to kick in iteratively every 2 years leading up to 2032. And we decided to accelerate eligibility so that all of these cohorts at once will qualify in just a matter of weeks. What does that mean for veterans? That means as of March 5th, if you served in Vietnam, the Gulf War, Iraq, or Afghanistan, in any mission, you are eligible to enroll, regardless of any benefits application you have in the adjudication of that benefit. If you were deployed to any combat zone after 9/11, any combat zone at all, you can enroll. If you were deployed in support of the global war on terror, you are eligible to enroll. And if you never deployed, but were still exposed to toxins or hazards while training or serving on active duty at home, or working with chemicals, pesticides, lead, asbestos, certain paints, nuclear weapons, x-rays, and more, you can enroll too. Bottom line, all veterans exposed to any form of toxic substance, at home or abroad, are eligible to enroll in VA healthcare as of March 5th. And we do not have to prove a nexus between that exposure and a clinical condition to qualify for VA healthcare. It's quick and easy to enroll. You don't need to be sick or file a claim. You have to go online and apply for health care, and our average turnaround time for healthcare applications for enrollment is between 3 to 5 days. Somebody with no access to health care in a matter of a week in any of these categories will have health care for life as a result of the PACT Act and acceleration of this important section of the law. So please tell veterans and people in your networks to go to va.gov/PACT, and as of March 5th, click Apply for Healthcare, and you can enroll for healthcare for life. I also need your help to get the word out on an important announcement from VBA, and we're making every single use of every public forum we can to talk about this important update. As of April 20th, on behalf of Josh Jacobs, the Undersecretary for Benefits, he wanted me to tell you that VA will no longer send a veteran's or family's members' benefit payments to more than one bank account. An important change to the last piece of veterans' benefits, because some people still have multiple accounts where they're getting different benefits payments. The most important reason we're doing this is to protect veterans and families from fraud, and to ensure that VA is able to pay veterans on time, every time, without error. Instances of fraud have gone up over the years, concerningly. People taking advantage, stolen valor. These are things that are happening, unfortunately, all too often. And the ability to centralize into one bank account significantly reduces the chances of fraud. On top of that, accurate and timely payments are more likely when the agency is working with each veteran in one account. So as of April 20th, any veteran or beneficiaries who receive GI Bill payments and other benefits payments across multiple bank accounts will select one by April 20th. They have the chance to select a specific one by then, but the good news is that if they don't take action or if they don't hear the message, they'll still ultimately get payments into one of the bank accounts that's selected by default. The shift will impact nearly 50,000 of 800,000 total GI Bill beneficiaries. And so this is really following along a line of actions to align with every other type of benefits payment. The education benefits under the GI Bill were the last one to go, but we're still trying to spread the word on this as much as possible. The easy way that veterans can make this change and select a bank account of their choice is to go to va.gov/change direct deposit. And when they get to the pay information section, there'll be a box to select the bank account of your choice. This may seem like a rather specific issue for me to be talking about, but what we don't want to do is make sure that any veterans left behind in their exercise of the choice of where they get the benefits that they earned and deserved. So thank you again for being here with me and my colleagues to celebrate the opening of the Fort Campbell VA Clinic. It is such a tremendous honor. It is really setting the foundation for infrastructure that we need across the country to serve a record number of new veterans who we will be seeing. And all of you are setting that groundwork in an impressive way. Thank you so much for your time and really appreciate it. Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Executive Director of VA Tennessee Valley Healthcare System, Mr. Daniel Deeker.
Thanks for your comment, sir. I guess we got to get busy. We're going to have to create some more space.
Oh, yeah.
Sam will need to talk. Welcome, everybody. Distinguished guests, thanks so much for being here. It means a lot to me and the team up here, but also to our staff, collective staff, from Bach as well as from Tennessee Valley, to have so many distinguished folks in the audience today. Traveling from D.C. or across Montgomery County, coming down from Lexington. It's just it's a testimony to how many people are impacting because of this. Commissioner Baker, great to see you here as well. Great partner. There's a couple things, there's a lot been mentioned about the clinic, so I'm not going to repeat what's been mentioned. One of the things I found when I visited the other day is we actually have a great partnership with Charlie Moore and VBA. And we've actually had a VBA claims person sit in that new clinic and help people work through their claims. That's what it's all about, right? Meeting the veteran where they're at and trying to help them get the benefits that they need. I think I saw a statistic already. We have nearly 700 enrolled veterans who work on this post. Guess where they're getting the health care? On this post. That's unique. That's maybe a pattern that we can copy across the enterprise, sir, as we continue to develop relationships with our DoD partners. I want to just kind of tell a couple stories as it relates to how did we get here. And Vince, I'm looking at you, buddy. It's your fault. Actually, it's the credit of the partnership with Vince, and we know this because of the example of our two leaders from DoD and VHA here. Relationships is how it happens. I think I was on ground less than 30 days. Mike, maybe it was more than that, but in the first month or so, and I was knocking on Vince's door, and I said, we need help. Do you have any space? He said, I do. Lots of dialogue at our levels, and then raising that up through General Krieger, talking with the fiscal folks. So happens that Rob Goodman, who works G8 for you, sir, was standing next to me when I was commissioned in 1986. It's about relationships. So we were able to go through conversations pretty quickly to get to agreement that we wanted to do this. But I want to back up in terms of the relationship. So General Crosland, she and I served as lieutenant colonel commanders together in Germany back in the mid-2000s. Her assignment after she left Grafenwehr was here. She started the conversation, how can we connect with the VA? There needs to be a natural partnership. She's now running the whole thing, DHA, the commander, and here we are today. So please pass along our thanks for her support in getting to this point, to executing a vision she had some 18 years ago, sir. I think that's part of the story of what we're trying to do here. As I've worked with DoD partners when I was in Vision 6 in Fayetteville, we talked about this, and it's true here as well. Your patients today are my patients tomorrow. So why don't we start our relationship sooner and integrate it more? We're starting with primary care. That's the right place to start. Mental health, for sure. We need more access in that space. I think collectively, Sam and I and our teams think we have a lot of opportunities to continue to grow. You mentioned some of those today, sir. Pain management is a big demand for us. Versus sending it out, why not we build that infrastructure here to bring it back to us? I want to talk about a couple statistics that I think are just really, really important to give some detail to your comments about the 4-star. We do surveys of our veteran patients all the time to find out, do they like us? What we're doing work for them. 98% plus said that they are very satisfied with the quality of care they're getting. That's unprecedented, y'all. That doesn't happen because we don't hire good people and we don't have good support systems. From the first phone call for a appointment all the way to the care they get with their providers. That's important. We do another measurement in where we look at the trust. The trust is how much do our veterans trust us for their health care? Over 92% in Tennessee Valley alone. Clarksville's above 92%. That's outstanding employees doing the right thing when nobody's looking each and every day. And so for us to spread that into this campus with our staff in your building, that's neat. I can't wait to see the collaboration comes that we don't talk about. It'll happen. If you've been over to the space where you walk into the hospital, we have a VA volunteer at a desk there. He doesn't just give instructions or information to veterans. He's telling everybody where they need to go. Not literally, but you know what I'm saying. That works really, really well. In fact, we talked with Lori as part of the PAO, Lori Boyd, and we said, hey, how about we get the word out that we have a volunteer opportunity in this building to work with VA and veterans. I'm not trying to steal your volunteers, I promise, Sam. But another unique opportunity for us to partner in terms of the collaboration that's happening at the front door. I have not had conversations with anybody who wasn't encouraged by what we're doing here today in terms of starting this. So you'll be glad to know we've actually started seeing patients already. The anecdotal stories I'm getting are phenomenal. Very positive, very encouraged, and they're veterans, mostly the ones that I've heard when I was visiting, they're on this campus already. They go upstairs, Sergeant Major. They're not leaving campus. They're just going upstairs for their primary care appointment. And that's good because they get to return to work a little faster, right? So that's good for everybody. The other thing I wanted to mention just about this space we're in. So in Tennessee Valley, this is our fastest growing space in terms of number of veterans who are staying. I think I heard the statistic 2 years ago when I got here. Nearly a third of service members who separate in Montgomery County stay here. That's a lot. We know that we need to build that infrastructure to absorb that, and some more that you mentioned today, sir, so we need to get busy. We've already been approved and funded for an expansion of our current clinic. So this will put a perspective on it. If you're familiar with our current clinic, it's about 42,000 square feet. We're going up to 220,000 square feet facility in Montgomery County. Now your next question is, where are you going to build it? I don't know. Somebody that works on his team is deciding that for us. We're the ones that are going to execute the healthcare when it gets built. That's where we'll be. We'll decide what's inside of it, but we don't get to decide where it's going to be built. So don't ask me those questions today. That's exciting, y'all. I mean, that's a big deal. And for those who have been in Montgomery County and in this space for a while, you're like, about time, right? It's about time that we built that infrastructure in here. And so with that, plus the enhanced relationship with Sam and your team, the ability to take more of our care of more of our inpatient patients is a big deal. But the relationship, you think it's all about us coming into your space. It's not. We've now started conversations about, we have a very robust inpatient mental health program. We have a very robust inpatient recovery treatment program for substance abuse. Sam, we can help you out. And I know you know that as a psychiatrist, you're interested in that relationship. And I think our folks are already starting to talk about bringing patients down to Tennessee's space, so you don't have to send them to a third party to get that care. Nothing like having our recovering veterans next to a recovering soldier in their recovery process. That's pretty cool. But that's the beginning of it. I have no idea where the end is, Sam, and I'm just gonna, Mike, I'm gonna just continue to dream, and you can keep the reality to it and see if we can pay for it or not. But we gotta continue to think outside the box. We recently solicited, even from our staff of 5,000 staff across 22 sites of care in the center part of Tennessee, 14 counties in Kentucky. We had 150 plus ideas came in from our staff, how we can do things better. If we start soliciting both of our staff, how we can do things better in this space, we'll get another 150, I have no doubt. And we're committed to doing things better each and every day. That's important to us. It's not just about doing it, it's about doing it well and having the outcomes that we all intend and the outcomes that our veterans expect from us. So I couldn't be happier as a retired Army dude to be partnering with the Army in this space and doing this for our community. So Sam, thanks for the partnership, and thank you very much for being here today.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Assistant Secretary of Defense Health Affairs, Dr. Lester Martinez.
Mr. Secretary, distinguished guests, good afternoon. Thank you for the warm welcome and for being here. It is wonderful to be back home. I lived 4 years of my life with my family right here. I commanded the 86th Combat Support Hospital and Blanchfield. So there's nothing like coming back after serving in one of the most spectacular places on earth, so Ersal. I spent most of the last year visiting military health system installations and partner sites across the country and around the world, and have enjoyed every one. But again, there's something really special about this place. So it's always good to return home to a place with so many fun memories. Enough of this old stuff. We are here today for a very special occasion, the opening of the Veteran Administration and Department of Defense Health Clinic, the first of its kind in the state of Kentucky. Our partnership with the VA is so important that we share a mission to care for those who protect and have protected our country. This clinic demonstrates that shared commitment to the continuum of care that stretches from the first day of service throughout all the life of the service members, long after they leave the force. This clinic will not only benefit the patient it serves, but also strengthen the readiness of our medical providers who can maintain their skills while providing top-notch care to our deserving veterans. It's truly a win-win for everyone. Thank you again for your hospitality today. I had a wonderful visit at Fort Campbell again, and congratulations, and thank you for all of those of you that worked so hard to make this happen. Have a good afternoon.
At this time, we ask Dr. Elnahal, excuse me, I'm going to get that right, Dr. Elnahal, Dr. Martinez, Colonel Preston, Command Sergeant Major Petty, Mr. Deeker, Mr. Goins, and Mr. Renfro to move toward the center of the stage to ceremoniously cut the ribbon, officially dedicating the Fort Campbell Veterans Affairs Health Clinic at Bach as a new home for veterans and their families in the community. When ready, the scissors will be open and we will begin counting down from 3. Everyone ready? 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the singing of the Screaming Eagles song and the Army song. The lyrics are within your program. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Staff Sergeant Joel Reyes, the always prevalent true voice of the Eagle. Please join the VA Tennessee Valley Healthcare System and Blanchfield Army Community Hospital teams in the hospital atrium located inside the C Building Hospital entrance just past Lassiter's Coffee and Tea. Also, our ceremony guest speakers will host a short press conference with the media on stage at this time and will join everyone at the reception afterwards. This concludes our ceremony. We thank you for attending. Screaming Eagles, Air Assault, Army Medicine, be all you can be.